Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, discusses how her complicated relationship with social media influenced her approach to business. When she was trying out for acting gigs, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, formerly worked at a paper source store where she taught gift wrapping. The American-born former actress, who played Rachel Zane in the legal drama Suits, spoke at the Fortune Most Powerful Women Summit in Washington, D.C., on Tuesday. She said that starting her as ever company has brought her back to her roots in the most unexpected manner. She stated in an interview with Fortune's editor-in-chief, Alison Shontel, "That's not the full circle I was expecting, but here we are." With Netflix as her only investor and partner, she established her lifestyle and homemaking company, As Ever, this year. Her company markets items such as jams, flour sprinkles, and teas since she has a strong love and passion for tactile products. The Duchess has increased her media visibility with the Netflix program and hinted that more tactile products might be included in the mix in the future. Meghan and the Confessions of a Female Founder podcast series, both of which debuted this year, are sending their love. In 2018, millions of people worldwide watched as Meghan Markle, who was previously known as Meghan Markle, joined the British royal family after marrying Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. Prior to getting married, she also maintained a lifestyle blog called The Tig. Given the intense attention Meghan received during the beginning of her relationship and marriage to Prince Harry, her connection with social media is rather complicated. "As you may guess, I have a very complex connection with social media, but I also understand its significance in business," Meghan said. Meghan had temporarily stopped using social media, only rejoining in January when As was introduced. Ever. She's still working on a social media strategy that benefits her, her family, and her business. Because a lot of those people aren't going to my page to see, she has employed the strategy of disabling comments on social media postings. "It's not just protecting myself or the people that work with me, but also the supporters," she said, referring to negativity. However, Meghan keeps in touch with her supporters by sending them handwritten letters in order to keep the community expanding. "Let's explore innovative and little strategies to involve the community and let them know that I'm paying attention, that I really see and value their input." She stated that a lot of it is just designing what works best for you, while also being really cognizant of what is going to help expand the company with a deliberate and genuine perspective. The commitment of Duchess Meghan to women in the workplace. For a long time, Meghan has been concerned with women's rights and feminism. She penned a letter when she was 11 years old, criticizing what she saw to be a sexist television advertisement by Procter & Gamble for Ivory dish soap, which said, "Women all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans." Her motivation for speaking out was this. In opposition to the message, Meghan sent a letter to then First Lady Hillary Clinton, women's rights lawyer Gloria Allred, and news anchor Linda Ellerbee. Meghan proposed that the advertisement's wording is changed from women to people. She continues to be outspoken about political and social concerns such as paid family leave and reproductive rights, and in 2015, she gave a prominent address at the UN on gender equality. Meghan also invests in businesses run by women, and her investment strategy is more akin to a dolphin tank than a shark tank, which implies that her methods are more welcoming and helpful. Her media endeavors, which include Netflix initiatives, the demise of Spotify's archetypes, and the rebranding that followed, have all been significant events in the high-stakes economics of Hollywood agreements and audience sentiment. In the past, Fortune has presented her at its most powerful women platform to address tech accountability, civic engagement, and online toxicity, a theme that persists. Coverage of her and Prince Harry's appeal for changes to Meta's platform policies. Meghan's three-word statement, which has the internet scratching its head, in which she describes how her 19 months in the UK traumatized her. Many online users are perplexed by Meghan Markle's attempt to engage in deep introspection during a keynote interview, and one person has called her most recent catchphrase word salad. After announcing that 2025 will be her year of learns, Meghan Markle has once again ignited the internet. The 44-year-old Duchess of Sussex made the statement during a keynote interview at Fortune's Most Powerful Women Summit in Washington, D.C., which has since been widely reported. Gone viral for all the wrong reasons. In an interview with Fortune's editor-in-chief, Alison Chantal, Meghan stated that she intends to leverage her significant influence and build on stage at the Salamander DC Hotel. A flourishing, enduring business empire built on the back of her Netflix program, with Love, Meghan, and lifestyle brand, as ever. The Duchess dodged the topic of a third season of the program, stating that her crew was trying out new things. Formats ranging from longer episodes to brief, bite-sized videos. We're now experimenting with the fact that sitting through a show for 30 minutes is wonderful, but how can I give you in 2 minutes a recipe? Also, where might I share that with you? And how it keeps growing, as Meghan said, ever. Therefore, I believe looking at that format, again, it's a year of lessons. We can say, 8 episodes for 2 seasons, it's a lot of work, she continued. Her remark came as the second season of With Love, Meghan, which had a Rotten Tomatoes audience score of 27% and failed to crack Netflix's top 10, struggled to take off. Meghan also spoke about her new first-look agreement with the streaming behemoth, which some have called a downgrade from her previous arrangement, claiming that it allows for greater artistic freedom. I am now in a first-look arrangement with Netflix, which is also fascinating since it gives me an overall agreement with them, giving us the flexibility to approach our partners first and simultaneously shop for material that might not be appropriate, has a home elsewhere but is suitable for Netflix, she added. Her Year of Learns statement was quickly embraced by social media users. One ex-user even questioned, "A year of learns? What is this baby talk?" One person wrote, "Add it to the word salad," while another joked, "Afterwards it will be a month of listens. Maybe a week of reads?" Meghan also discussed in her keynote how she had been traumatized by her 19 months in the UK and that 2020 was the year for her to recover. Following her and Prince Harry's move to California after they gave up royal life 5 years ago, in my opinion, we were all in a very different position. Archie was so young, and I had recently become pregnant. At the same time as Lily, she informed Chantal, thus, we were nesting, and recuperating. There was no strategy. It was simply, let's get through the next few years. In an interview with Fortune, Meghan Markle discusses her complicated relationship. On Tuesday, Meghan went to Washington, D.C. In a recent interview with Fortune, Meghan Markle revealed that she made a deliberate decision to disable comments on her Instagram account, both on her own and on her Fortune profile. For her lifestyle company and personal account as always, as a means of self-preservation. At Fortune's Most Powerful Women Summit in Washington, D.C., on Tuesday, October 14th, the Duchess of Sussex gave a frank speech in which she spoke about her complex connection with social media. In a Fortune interview, Meghan Markle discusses her complicated relationship with social media. The Duchess of Sussex discussed her continuous attempts to safeguard her mental health while negotiating the internet environment in an interview with Fortune's editor-in-chief, Alison Chantal. She said that her choice to restrict interaction and disable comments on social media was both deliberate and personal. She stated that its goal was to safeguard not just herself or her colleagues, but also her followers. As you may expect, my connection with social media has been quite complicated, she said, according to Hello Magazine. Meghan said, there are certain things that I have done, just for my own self-preservation, adding, but also that I've applied to the brand and the people who are so supportive. According to the Duchess, the choice was made not just to protect herself from online abuse, but also to shield her supporters from negativity. She added, I also realize that many of those individuals are not coming to my site to see negativity, thus not only am I intentionally targeting them, by design, to safeguard myself and the people I work with, as well as the fans. Thus, the comment section is closed. But Meghan admitted that this choice involves compromises, notably the lack of direct positive interaction. Despite this, she said she would rather concentrate on the overwhelming groundswell of support than the criticism. She also considered the difficulty of creating a valuable online community in the absence of the conventional means of communication. How do I create a community? She questioned. That's so important to this brand and to the way I like to present myself up in the world. If you can't exchange comments, how can we truly connect? Netflix's Meghan, with love. Meghan also gave an update about her Netflix series With Love, Meghan, throughout the chat. She disclosed that she and her colleagues are considering innovative approaches to advance the show's format. After 7 years performing in Suits, she discussed the demands of conventional television and said that her staff is now researching formats that are shorter and more accessible, such as bite-sized material that maintains the spirit of as ever. The Duchess stated, "It's a year of learns. It's incredible to sit and watch a show for 30 minutes, but how can I give you a recipe in 2 minutes? And how that keeps expanding, as ever? And where can I share that with you?" The Fortune conference goes through Wednesday. The lineup of speakers is amazing, including Brené Brown, the author, Kamala Harris, the former Vice President of the United States, and Selena Gomez, the singer and actress. Just a few days prior to her visit to Washington, Meghan joined Prince Harry in New York City for Project Healthy Minds World Mental Health Day activities. The pair went to the Charities Festival the day after its gala on October 9th. They utilized their platform throughout the events to discuss fostering supportive communities, mental health, and digital safety. In a recent interview with Fortune, Meghan Markle admitted that she and Prince Harry had no plan when they relocated to the United States. When they gave up their positions as working royals and boarded a plane to cross the pond, Meghan and Prince Harry made a significant act of faith in 2020 to relocate to California. Additionally, when completely uprooting their lives, the pair appear to have taken a rather unusual course. The Duchess of Sussex has revealed the details of her and Harry's relocation to the United States. At a meeting in Washington, D.C., yesterday, Meghan freely acknowledged that she didn't have the bandwidth at the time to consider the big picture after moving to sun-drenched California with Harry. Here, she admitted that, despite taking such a significant step, she and the Duke of Sussex had no plan. "I think 5 years ago, the scenario was very different for all of us," Meghan, 44, stated at Fortune's Most Powerful Women Summit. "I was so tiny, and right around that time, I became pregnant with Lily. We were nesting, then. Making nests and recuperating. Furthermore, I'm unsure if I had the time to consider what the big picture goal was at the time. There was no strategy. It was simply about getting through the next couple of years and fostering community, something that was always very important to the two of us in our new surroundings." Meghan went on to describe how she and Harry, 41, discovered their footing in business and how they entered producing through their agreement, creating projects that we felt were compelling, according to Netflix. The story of how Harry and Meghan established their kingdom. Meghan then explained how this ultimately turned into a business. "Then I said, okay, I've always loved being able to share. Is there a business opportunity for someone who has always enjoyed cooking and hosting? And I believe that most people probably thought that if I were going to start a business, it would be in the fashion and beauty industry. However, during those 5 years at home, I wasn't wearing stunning clothing. Rather, I was likely wearing Birkenstocks and sweats like everyone else. I was producing a lot of jam, whether barefoot at home or in the United States, particularly during the COVID outbreak. Therefore, it turned out to be the thing I was truly passionate about that I transformed into a business. Naturally, we are now aware that everything turned out well for Harry and Meghan. They collaborate on a variety of projects, both jointly and separately, while living in a vast estate in Montecito. From Harry's book contract to the couple's Archwell Productions firm, Meghan's podcast endeavors, and beyond. Following the end of a $100 million agreement with Netflix, Meghan Markle discloses plans to create short social media films, according to the Duchess to Influencer. During her presentation at Fortune's Most Powerful Women Summit, Meghan Markle hinted at her intentions to publish brief instructional videos on social media. As she spoke at the summit in Washington, D.C., on Tuesday afternoon, the Duchess of Sussex talked about what it's like to be a high-profile business founder. Since launching her lifestyle brand as Meghan has been on the Salamander D.C. hotel stage outlining her intentions to leverage her significant influence to create a successful, long-lasting business empire. this year ever earlier. In addition, she discussed how the brand is evolving, hinting at a shift away from her Netflix series with Love, Meghan and towards faster, influencer-style material. The Duchess responded to a query about whether her cooking show would have a third season by saying, "Well, the holiday special is coming out in November, and it's a fantastic one. As a result, we may claim that 2 seasons have 8 episodes, which is a significant amount of effort. I remember what goes into making Suits because I worked on it for 7 years, including how much people want content in various sizes. It's great to be able to sit and watch a program for 30 minutes, but what are we experimenting with now? In 2 minutes, may I give you a recipe and share it with you?" And how that keeps expanding as always. Meghan continued, "So I'm exploring all the options of what that could look like." The fact that her and Prince Harry's new first-look agreement with Netflix was said to be a downgrade from the Sussex's prior $100 million agreement with the streaming behemoth was also covered in her talk. Netflix is able to accept or reject new movie or television programs before anybody else due to the nature of the new arrangement. Meghan told the audience, "My husband and I had an overall deal with Netflix, and the extension of it was now. The first-look agreement, which is also exciting because it gives us the freedom to approach our partners first and then at the same time, be able to buy stuff that might not be a good fit for Netflix but has a home elsewhere." Fortune's editor-in-chief, Alison Shontel, hosted an Open Tuesdays event, which was titled Next Level Influence, a discussion with Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Noon local time, which is 5 p.m. British Summer Time. Since 1999, the business magazine Fortune has sponsored the annual Fortune's Most Powerful Women Summit, which takes place on the second day of the event. Former Vice President Kamala Harris, actress Selena Gomez, Washington, D.C., Mayor Muriel Bowser, and other speakers spoke at the summit. Meghan's arrival coincides with a hectic period in her schedule, as she and Prince Harry recently made a number of public appearances in New York, which included the pair receiving the Humanitarian of the Year award. The Sussexes also attended a Mental Health Day festival in New York City and were later seen heading for a fancy meal with a friend and the Soho House in the city, where tennis icon Serena Williams is. It was Meghan's first time attending the Washington, D.C. event in 5 years. She described how it ever came about, stating that it began about COVID when she was spending a lot of her time at home. She stated, "I've always loved sharing, I've always loved cooking and entertaining. Is there any business here? Most people probably assumed that if I were to enter the business world, it would be in the fashion or beauty industry. However, during those 5 years at home, I was likely wearing Birkenstocks and sweats like the rest of us, rather than dashing around in nice clothes. Notably when at home without shoes or during COVID. However, I was producing a lot of jam. Ultimately, I turned my genuine passion project into a business." Meghan also talked about her new products, navigating entrepreneurship in the public eye and building a brand that will last, as well as life as the founder of her lifestyle company. According to the event description, as ever, a company motivated by her passion for cooking and hosting, was established earlier this year by the Duchess of Sussex. She has also launched podcasts and been involved in a number of Netflix programs, including her recent lifestyle series, with Love, Meghan. She joins us to discuss the opportunities and challenges of life as a highly visible founder, as well as how she plans to leverage her important impact in creating a thriving, enduring business empire. Meghan gave a speech at Fortune's Most Powerful Women Next Gen Virtual Summit in October 2020, where she discussed courageous leadership and described how she learned to lead on a global stage. For the occasion, she chose a $328 blue and white strappy dress from African-American designer Tracy Reese's sustainable label Hope for Flowers. However, it changed into suggested on the time that visitors could want to pay $1,750 for the privilege, with tickets to the summit confined to invited guests who are ready to pay the high registration cost. Meghan made a splash in Paris during the Balenciaga Spring-Summer 2026 show in October with her bold white and black. The attire was discussed in the news all over the world. Meghan discovered her whirlwind trip to the French capital, even if it was her first try at being accepted by the high fashion industry. Full of errors and uncomfortable situations, she also had an awkward kiss with Balenciaga's designer, Pier Paolo Pacioli, and when they leaned in for a hug, they ended up butting heads. Video surfaced of the Duchess seemingly chuckling as a model was brought, leading to allegations that she may have committed another front-row mistake. A fall on the Balenciaga runway, right beside her impassive companion, Meghan turned back around to see the performance with a more neutral face when her friend didn't appear entertained, although a spokesperson maintained she was not chuckling at the model's fall. The leading designer at Balenciaga disclosed that Meghan had to request an invitation to the catwalk debut during her controversial Paris getaway. The Duchess of Sussex described her trip to Fashion Week in the French capital as the culmination of many years of friendship with Pier Paolo Pacioli. However, Mr. Pacioli's response has been far less outspoken, implying that their relationship is based on sporadic texting. In a brand new interview, the distinguished apparel fashion dressmaker discovered that Meghan had requested him if she ought to attend, as opposed to him sending her an invite. However, Mr. Pacioli admitted that it was a beautiful surprise that had helped her keep her trip to his show in Paris under wraps. Prior to traveling to New York with her husband Prince Harry, she returned to the States last week. The pair was named Humanitarians of the Year at the World Mental Health Day Gala, which they attended on Thursday. Meghan conveyed the couple's concerns about the effects of social media exposure on their children, Lilibet and Archie, 6, as they received the honor. She stated, "Our children, Archie and Lily, are only 4 and 6 years old. Fortunately, she's still too young for social networking, but we are aware that this will change. As with so many parents, we are always thinking about how to make the most of technology while protecting ourselves from its risks." The Duke of Sussex, 41, was recognized as a humanitarian, mental health advocate, environmentalist, and military combat veteran, while Meghan was identified as a mother, wife, entrepreneur, and philanthropist.